10th. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Council, would someone like to bring the 2.1 adoption of minutes and
Yeah, pardon me, Mr. Mayor. There are a couple of amendments to two sets of the minutes. The June 22nd special council meeting, Tammy Rothery and Angelique Wood were not at that meeting, so I need to remove that. As well, the June 28th special council meeting, Councillor Traynor was not in attendance either. So those will need to be amended.
would someone like to bring those minutes forward as amended, please? Thank you. Second. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Carlson. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, motion's carried. Okay, 2.2. Approval of public hearing report. Who's dealing with that?
Just need a mover and a seconder.
Okay, we just need a mover and a seconder on that adoption report. Thank you, Councillor Carlson. Councillor Booth, thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, now a resolution to adopt tonight's agenda. Okay, is there anything added?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, there is an addition, or additional information has just been circulated regarding item 12.4, the Garnet Valley project. As well, there is a late item from Tammy Rothery regarding recycling contamination education program. The item is going to be, we feel, very brief, so I suggest that we just add it to unfinished business as item 9.2 so that Tammy can do her presentation and then leave. Please.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Would someone like to bring that forward? Adoption of the agenda as amended, please. Councillor Peak, Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, we have no hearings, no public or statutory hearings, no delegations. So we're moving right into the opportunity for public comment, where we have items that are highlighted in the agenda that members of the public may comment on. So anybody has anything to say regarding any of those items, please come forward.
Excuse me, would that be myself? Comment Stonehill and property that's easement and...
Yes.
Yes, in regards only
It's
to the
highlighted.
outstanding.
Okay, and which one, where are we here? Which number is that?
It's like 12.7 or something. It's
12.7?
yeah, 12.7.
Yes, and just keeping to the item at hand and
The outstanding building
the
permit.
outstanding building permit, please.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Just keeping to the outstanding building permit aspect of the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. Last time I was up here 2 weeks ago, one of the council members made a good point, and that is that I should negotiate with my neighbor. But I would like to explain why that has been impossible. This is October 7, 2013. This is what I received from Ian McIntosh. I received your email and reviewed the file again. The District of Summerland is confident that the professional survey information we have on file is reliable. We also believe the building was constructed in accordance with the approved plans and regulations. I have been advised that the Freedom of Information request was processed appropriately and you were permitted to view all the relevant information in the file. I wasn't allowed to see the survey report or go over it because I was told, that was 2 years in the future. I have no reason to
just
think
to
anything
interrupt
else
you.
is amiss or that any appropriate construction took place. All the information we have suggests that all is well.
Mr. Stonehill, just quickly remind you, you have 2 minutes, so please
Okay.
try and be brief. Thank
So I've
you.
got another one, November 19th, 2013, being from Ian. I have attached the 2 survey reports we have on file with respect to the construction of Summerland Glass Building. The first, drawing prepared by AM Survey and Services. Dean will agree that that's a plot plan, and that is exactly what he sent me. He sent me a plot plan, tried to pretend it was a survey report. And then he goes on to explain my survey report, which I know, we talked about it last week. quarter of an inch, anything over a quarter of an inch was on my property. He goes on to explain that somehow my survey report does not show that. February 3rd, 2014. Hi, Brian, again from Ian. The district's position remains unchanged. The professional survey information we have confirms the building is clear of your property. This is an answer from the mayor's office, February 3rd, 2014. Hi, Mr. Stonehill. I have talked with Ian, and he stands by our survey as he reviewed it. They are satisfied with it, and the district feels there is no longer a need to keep reviewing this issue. I know you have different information, so they advise if you feel this way, you need to go through a lawyer, and this becomes a dispute between neighbors. I'm sorry to advise the district will not spend any more time on this.
So could you please
So you can
wrap,
see it
could
was
you
very
please
hard.
wrap up now, Mr.
Yes, I
Stonehill?
will. So it's very hard for me to approach my neighbor when the district is saying, my surveyor's wrong, right? I mean, who's my neighbor gonna believe? My surveyor that I paid and myself, or the District of Summerland, Ian McIntosh, who is director? So, now, I'm gonna jump ahead to email I got.
You've
from-
actually finished your time, Mr. Stonehill.
Well, I finished my time, so I can't ask Dean a question about this?
Ian,
No?
you mean Mr., no, actually, I'll have my CAO respond.
If you may have he may want to ask Dean a
Okay,
question,
you can
but
ask
just,
Mr. Strachan a quick question, yes?
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
A survey, this is what I received from Dean, April 20th, 2017. A survey certificate is not required by bylaw nor by building code. The building inspector has the discretion to require, or if they feel they have sufficient information, not to require a survey certificate. Development Services reviewed the
I'm going to
information
answer.
available in the file and determined that the owner was not required to provide further information. That sufficient information is available within the file to determine the sitting of the structure. So if I understand that correctly, there is some information, some documents in the file that Dean has reviewed, and those documents determine that no survey report was required, because they must prove it's clear of my property. That's what I'm assuming.
so I'll just reiterate for council that we discussed it last time. It has been determined, and Mr. Strachan and I have confirmed, that there is an encroachment of the footing below the property line. That is not, so the question of whether or not there's a survey or a plot plan, it has been confirmed that there is an encroachment. The matter that's at hand, the outstanding building permit, which is the matter that's brought forward now, is whether or not the owner of the adjacent property to Mr. Stonehill will be removing that encroachment, or whether or not there's any interest in Mr. Stonehill negotiating and discussing an easement with them on this encroachment. But that's not in question, that there is an encroachment.
Well, I do have 50 more feet of property, and what I'm trying to get to is this document that Dean refers to. It says that they can build on my property, basically. It's some kind of a form. I would like to know what that is. I want to make sure that they don't have another one of these forms, and I'm going to be doing this 6 years from now.
Okay, Mr. Stonehill, we're going to be dealing with that item later in the evening as well, so I
Okay.
think I will ask you to,
All right,
take your
and
seat
2
now,
points
please.
I would like to make about the, what someone asked, the options.
It's okay, I think,
They were given 2 options. It was never discussed with me what I wanted. I think I should have the option choice. But I have a third option, and had I been asked, I would have told the respective parties, which is the District of Summerland, the responsible party, District of Summerland and my neighbor. I mean, this all started because I was trying to sell my property. So, if anybody wants to purchase it and go ahead and, allow this all to go ahead, they can.
okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I would like to know if the non-conforming building, is it gonna be torn down before the construction starts? Because it's a non-conforming structure.
Thank you.
I have a lot of questions, but I don't get any answers. Thank you.
Does anybody else like to speak to any highlighted item on the agenda, please? Okay, hearing none, we'll move ahead to Mayor's report. Well, it's been that time of year again when we're all more aware of property taxes. Council tries hard to minimize the impact, but there are inflationary increases in many areas of our operation, plus we're trying hard to increase our reserves. The municipality raises approximately $75,000 for every $1% tax increase. To put this in perspective, our RCMP contract alone required an additional $105,000 this year. We are now also coming to the last phases of the Garnet Valley water separation and road work. This is a $6.9 million project. The District of Summerland's share was 1/3 of this, so it's easy to see how far tax money goes when the municipality is faced with major projects. We are now in the throes of our asset management project, which will tell us the cost and priority for replacement for our various physical assets, water, sewer, roads, and building infrastructure, including facilities such as our recreation center. Most grant funding opportunities require that we match other sources. The formulas change, but the community still needs to supply a significant share, usually in the range of hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions. Infrastructure ages and deteriorates over time. If insufficient dollars go into replacement over the life of the asset, it's difficult to replace it in time, in the appropriate time frame. Municipalities like Summerland have, to varying degrees, a significant proportion of the tax base as residential. Ours, and I stand corrected, but it's approximately 83% residential. When this council was elected, a major concern was the closed downtown stores, inadequate business activity, and job losses. For example, when the packing house closed, we lost over 70 jobs, and there are other examples. My own platform in the last election stressed 4 major areas of concern: to preserve and protect the agricultural land reserve, and 3 serious economic areas: general economic health of the community, growth to increase business activity, and growing our financial reserves. We struck an economic task force. A major recommendation was to hire an economic consultant. I'm pleased to report that Mr. Andreas Beam has started in that capacity today. To further enhance our abilities to meet our obligations, we continue to look for opportunities that will grow our capacity to fix roads, replace sewer and water infrastructure, and replace aging facilities such as the arena and rec complex. These opportunities and needs are inextricably welded together. Each opportunity must be examined comprehensively. We will continue to look for opportunities to minimize the tax burden and at the same time move ahead. Thank you, and that's my report. CAO.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor made mention of property taxes, and I just wanted to make note to council that it has been property tax season. This past week we had the property tax deadline, and we just extra thanks to our finance staff, all of them. It's always a really busy time at property tax, and I myself received a number of comments from some of our public recognizing the helpful service that they did provide. So sometimes we overlook how busy our employees get at times, and this was a particularly busy time. As you know, we're still, I provided an update on Friday on the flooding and the recovery effort. So we still have those approximately 200,000 sandbags that require removal. We did some estimates on time. It's if all of them had to be taken to away, it would be approximately 400 dump truck loads. That's the magnitude of it. So we're still working on putting the contractors together. We do have a contractor that will be going out this week to talk to do a site assessment for each property to determine accessibility of the property, how many sandbags, whether or not the individuals from the property want to remove them themselves. We've set 8 large bins up throughout the lakeshore areas, so that's an option if they're ready, if they have some that are not in harm's way now that they can remove them by themselves, or else we can wait for our contractors. So that's all. We're still fairly busy. There's some areas that are still requiring some pumping, although we're almost reduced. The spray park, we managed to get most of the beaches open for this past hot weekend, but the spray park, the drainage is below the water table right now, so it needs to wait till the water reduces a little more. Then as we finish up with our floodings, we're moving into this provincial-wide fire, state of emergency for fire. This last night, the fire chief did close Giant's Head Road to vehicle traffic, and we're getting an increasing number of inquiries by individuals and on what other measures might be taken in some of our more fire-prone trails and areas. So we will be looking at that and having a discussion amongst management tomorrow, which there may be some more information that comes to council. It is a fairly dire situation very early in the season. And I'll leave it at that for today.
Okay, thank you, CEO. There's one thing that I actually forgot to mention. I had a short discussion with Mayor Frank Armitage of Princeton just before this meeting, and expressed our concern of their situation over in that area. They've just Princeton's declared a state of emergency, and the evacuations have occurred up to their northern boundary. But at this point, nothing within the town of Princeton. So he's quite confident in all the staff and services that are available to them as they look forward. So I'm sure all of council's best wishes go out and concerns expressed to all the various communities in the interior, from Williams Lake right through to Ashcroft and Princeton and others. So it's been a very serious issue the last several days, and the winds and so on that we all heard or saw as we came in are not helping any of those situations. And so it's a very extraordinary situation, and we're just at the beginning of this fire season. So anyway, that's what I wanted to add there. Thank you. So we're moving into 9.1. Who's dealing with that?
Not sure, Linda.
That's the resolutions brought forward.
Yeah.
First resolution brought forward.
Do you want me to speak to that, or?
Yeah, just read it out.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, there's a resolution on the agenda that was brought forward from the closed session of this morning. The resolution is that the following resolution from the June 26th closed session be reported out at the July 10th regular council meeting, that staff be directed to prepare a public consultation plan for potential land use of the western portion of the district lands on Prairie Valley Road, and further that staff initiate this consultation.
Thank you. There's nothing more to be done at
No.
this time. Thank you very much. Okay, 9.2. Ms. Rothery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Recently, we were approached by the town of Smithers with an opportunity to participate with them and Port Hardy in a friendly competition through marketing and education to reduce the amount of contamination in our curbside recycling program. There's no cost to join, and there's a prize yet to be determined that will be awarded to the winner from Recycle BC. We feel that this is a really great opportunity for us to show the public that we're working on reducing our contamination levels, and also to receive some support with creating those marketing materials and improving how we communicate to the public. So with that, I'd like to recommend that council pass the following resolution: that the District of Summerland enter into a friendly marketing and education competition with the town of Smithers and Port Hardy to decrease the amount of contaminants that are included in Recycle BC's curbside pickup in our communities.
Thank you. So we all heard that. Would someone like to bring that forward? Councillor Carson?
Just a comment, I know that on the Climate Action Committee, ever since the beginning of our term, this has come up more than once. The idea of how to educate the local population about what can go in and what can't, and to make sure that we don't miss out on the revenue that is received from that program. So I think it's a really good opportunity. So I will move that motion.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Counselor Holmes, thank you. Any further discussion?
We can take that.
Okay, got it. All, a comment?
I just wanted to point out that there is an article in our District of Summerland newsletter that is coming out, Help the Fight, Recycle Right, so that is in support of this program.
Good, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Rothery. Okay, moving ahead to 10.1, correspondence. Is there anything in the correspondence list that anybody would like to bring forward? Councillor Barkwell.
Yes, I'd like to comment on the letter from Martin Nesbitt, who has some input for the Giants Head Park plan. I think his letter nicely summarizes comments from quite a few different people and shows the value of the consultation process, and I think his comments will be well received.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Peak.
Yes, I bring forward the letter from the KBR, and I know that we have a representative, the president from the committee, come forward to the last meeting, but I just wanted to make note of the letter there, and that we also have a follow-up letter from Parkdale Housing Society, and that'll be interesting as we follow that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, can we have a resolution brought forward to receive, please? Councillor Carlson, thank you. Councillor Peak, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, Development Services, 12.1. Petitions regarding application of...
It's not development services.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy. I'm sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
Very cool.
Right.
So this is an opportunity for council to formally receive 8 additional pages of the petition that were provided to council at the last meeting. There's an updated count of the signatories on the attached schedule.
Thank you. Okay, somebody, thank Councillor Booth.
I'd like to bring that resolution forward as
Okay.
written.
Yes. Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Carlson. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to 12.2, Giants Head Road upgrades, RFP results and award. Mr. Deniger or Chris? Sorry. Manager of Public Service.
Good evening, Council. Bringing this report forward due to the magnitude of this project and recent funding application that we submitted for the Giants Head Road upgrades. We wanted to update Council on the progress. We had a RFP out for the design services, which closed in May. We had 10 proponents which submitted on this project, which is typically quite a bit higher than what we would typically see on a project like this, which was great. We went through the review process and awarded the contract to Associated Engineering on June 21st, and have since proceeded with the work on the design. We had a kickoff meeting on June 29th, and we expect the 95% design submission to be submitted to us for review on October 27th. So we're moving forward with that design. Hoping to hear back on the funding application in the fall as well, and anticipate then going into tender and construction in 2018.
Good. Sounds good. Great. Questions? Councillor Peak.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, any speculation on why we had so many good competition, because that can make a difference in the price too?
As far as RFPs, we've heard that the numbers of 8 to 12 submissions has been common with some of the other municipalities. So it's just, consultants are hungry for work, and they're willing to compete on these projects.
Maybe a profile on the fact that there's some money's coming available to be invested as well. So
Mhm. It's a large project.
Yeah, it's a big project,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Councillor Holmes.
Does the 95% design submission does that include costing? So we'll have a better idea of the actual cost of the project at that time?
Yep. Yeah, so that'll include a cost estimate at that time, which then we'll be able to use for budgeting in 2018.
Right. And do we have any idea when we're supposed to hear about the grant application?
No, I haven't received an update. I plan to follow up on all our grant applications, so hopefully next meeting I can give you an update.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else? Just really happy to see this move forward. It's been a road that's in badly needed repair for at least a couple of decades. So, would someone like to bring that resolution forward and receive for information? Councillor Peak? Councillor Barkwell, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. 12.3.
Chris.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is in regards to a recent RFP that the district collaborated with the RDOS, Penticton, Oliver, Osoyoos, and Karamias for the curbside collection contract. The RFP was sent out well in advance of the current contract, which expires next June, so June 2018. That was to give the successful contractor time to purchase any new equipment that may be required. In the RFP, there was 2 service options that were noted. One was the manual collection, which we currently see right now, so that's the status quo. There's an option also to price out the transition to an automated system where there would be contractor supplied bins or totes that to each of the residents that would allow for an automated collection system. So the RFP closed on May 11th. We've seen 4 proposal submissions for that. Again, we evaluated based on the pre-established criteria in the RFP and have deemed Waste Connections of Canada to be the successful proponent for this work. As far as financial, listed in the report are the estimated costs of both the manual and automated service in comparison to the budget figures for 2017 for this current manual service within the contract that we have right now, which is with Waste Connections of Canada. The automated option would require for the provision, delivery, and maintenance of the carts, which is why there's a difference in cost seen between the two. And I guess in order to look at that automated solution, Waste Connections of Canada put in an option to phase in that automated collection service in years 2 or 3 of the contract, which would allow for some time to consult with the public and to thoroughly review that option for our community. So based on that, staff recommends that awarding or directing staff to negotiate a contract with Waste Connections of Canada for this curbside collection, and to direct staff to review the option to transition to the automated service in years 2 or 3 of that contract.
Thank you. Councillor Carlson and Councillor Holmes.
Waste Connections of Canada says formerly BFI. Is that's our current?
That's our current
operator,
contractor,
right?
yes.
Okay. So it wouldn't change.
Correct.
Councillor Holmes.
With the transition to the automated service, I can see why there could be like kind of a one-time initial cost increase, but after that, I don't understand why then you're still paying a lot more for an automated service.
So what the increased price would be is that capital cost spread over that 7-year contract, and then at the end of that term, the district would purchase those for $1.
So it's basically amortization of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Of the capital cost of
capital
those.
costs.
Okay, and then and then the idea after that, it's more effective. I mean, maybe just what's the benefit to us of going to the automated?
Benefits of it are more from a health and safety perspective is
Mm-hmm.
one, mainly with to reduce the manual lifting of the contractor and the work there. It also provides opportunity to expand our service, to look at different ways to collect our curbside collection, but look at organics or wet waste in addition to our recycling and yard waste. It also, those are the main reasons as to why
There are municipalities in British Columbia that have had to put severe restrictions on their size of their garbage that will be picked up. The bargaining units won't lift the certain weights anymore, so they've gone to automated. It's not an issue here at this time at all, but it could become an issue.
Well, that's more of a benefit for the contractor then.
No, it's more of a, but depending if it's, it's dependent if it's contracted out or, yeah. But the weight restrictions are a big reason that it's moving. And that's one of the reasons we didn't go straight to that point, because I think there's a whole lot more research that needs to be done from our end.
Yeah, I just see us paying for what the contractor the benefit to the contractor's employees as opposed to the benefit to district employees. So. and we pay for it. But
Councillor
we'll cross
Trainer.
that bridge when we get to it.
Councillor Trainer.
From what I've seen, the stand-up containers are a lot tidier, and they don't tip over as much. I wanted to know, do you know the lifespan of one of them?
Approximately 10 years.
Okay, so they need to be replaced every 10 years then? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's the estimated life cycle.
Okay.
I think probably, Mr. Johnson, they probably hold considerable more weight in those automated containers than standard style handling.
They have various sizes, 120, 100, or 240 or 360 liters. So a typical garbage can that you would see is around 80 liters.
I see. Okay, so yeah, there's that benefit
So
too.
yeah, depending on, some communities would allow residents to choose what size they want and have different rates for them. Some have standardized and chosen one with a goal of reducing waste. So there's different options that can be rolled out. Then it could then ultimately change your frequency of collection of garbage versus recycling as well. So there's different options to look at for sure.
Yeah, I see. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Peak?
Yes, I was going to say, because those carts are on wheels too, there's a benefit to being able to take them in and out of your own property depending on the length of your lane or whatever. And they tend to be a bear-proof container as opposed to bags at the side of the road, so that's another benefit to our community at large. I was going to ask, is there an inflationary factor over this 7-year contract?
So I guess what was bid in there was a unit rate. There is a 3% inflation that was considered, and that's what's in the current contract. And so yeah, these would be for year one, and these are to negotiate a contract with them because it was an RFP and not a tender. So that's likely what we would.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, would someone like to bring that resolution forward as written, please? Councillor Trainer?
I will bring forward that resolution as presented.
Okay, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Peak? Okay, any further discussion on this item? Okay, looks like we're moving ahead. All in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much.
Me.
Okay, 12.4. This is the Garnet Valley project report, which we
Right.
received
Right.
this evening.
So council has a copy of the report, which is a summary of the discussion that council had this morning at the Committee of the Whole. As you know, you passed a recommendation at the Committee of the Whole, which requires a consideration as a resolution in a regular meeting. So it is in regards to reducing the scope of the Jones Flat and Garnet Valley Water System Separation Project in those select 3 areas. The project will remain on budget or within budget. It's expected that with the reduction to 7.8 overall width from 9 meters and the contribution from WSP, that we would remain within budget and be able to move forward and not delay the project.
Okay, thank you. So any questions at all? I think we've got that in front of us. Councillor Peak?
So, Mr. Johnson, this will allow us to still have an improved road system in terms of the width and the sight lines and those kind of improvements and drainages as we were hoping for in the beginning.
Correct.
And it will still allow for our bike lanes to be there and identified when they're narrowing or where we're sharing them or whatever.
Yeah, so the 7.8 meter wide road incorporates 0.5 meter bike lanes on either side that would be delineated and signed accordingly.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Carlson?
Just briefly, I know this was put together this afternoon. It says these locations are shown on the attached Schedule 1 location map.
Right.
So when this goes onto the website, I would suggest we have a map so people can see the locations we're talking about.
There's only 3 of us working on it.
It's all right.
It is the same map that you looked at this
Yeah.
afternoon,
And
and we will
know
attach
what
it.
it looks like, but I know
Absolutely.
that everyone else probably has
Yeah.
no idea. So
Yeah.
it's-
So those sections will just be narrowed by the amount of the bike lane itself, essentially, and
Yeah, so from the 9 meter to the 7.8 meter, the bike lanes would be reduced 2 feet on either side from
Yeah.
1.1 to 0.5 meters.
Okay, thank you. Would someone like to bring the resolution forward? Councillor Peak.
The staff is directed to reduce the project scope of the Jones Flat and Garnet Valley Water System Separation Project to a 7.8 meter wide road in identified narrow sections as presented by the Director of Works and Utilities at the July 10th, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Trainer, thank you. Any further discussion on this? Councillor Barkle.
Just for the clarification, when in the resolution, when it refers to identified narrow sections, you're referring to the parts of the road where there's a steep bank on one side and it's difficult and expensive to make the road wide, right? Yes, yeah. If you were not part of the discussion, you would maybe wonder what that really meant.
Thank you. Anybody else? None? Okay. So we have a mover and seconder, right? Right. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Moving ahead to 12.5, Trail of the Okanagan Society Wayfinding Project. Is that Mr. Deniger?
Yep. So this is a following report from the May 23rd Committee of the Whole, where the Trail of the Okanagan Society presented a PowerPoint presentation and spoke to their pilot project idea to start in Summerland with a downtown hub location for a sign and to do these Bluetooth beacons at numerous trailheads throughout town and at trailheads around town. So in that presentation, they requested 4 specific items of assistance from the district or cooperation, and those were to prepare the downtown hub location. They do have a preference, but some discussion needs to occur there. They'd like some assistance with providing and installing the frame, which is same as the one down at Lakeside. Same sign, same sort of idea for a cooperative venture. To help with installing posts and the Bluetooth beacons, and to pick a coordinator to basically keep the line of communication open with them. So staff have reviewed these requests. There are no particular concerns. Some discussion was had with the Okanagan Regional Library, both directly between the Trails Society and with the district. It's an ongoing discussion, and we'll have to meet on site in the coming weeks and have sort of all the stakeholders there to determine what really is the best location for the cyclists, for the library, for the city, and see how that fits into a downtown plan, into a trails plan, into a wayfinding plan. Try to keep it flexible and as best as we can for all the players. One of the requests that came in late just through the discussion was of making the sign hub a bit more of a hub and actually more useful to cyclists by putting in a sort of an industrial strength air pump and repair station. So both the library and the district are quite excited about that as a potential, depending where it ends up, but it could be useful for everybody. And help put Summerland, no pun intended, on the map for supporting cyclists.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Deniger, please? Councillor Peak.
I know that the committee is most interested in moving it forward as quickly as possible because the season is here. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to keep it at pace and we can be bureaucratic, and I'm hoping we're not too bureaucratic.
Yeah, there is quite an eagerness within the district to see this move forward, so we hope to meet and get it happening as quickly as possible.
And certainly the committee expresses their thanks because they're very pleased to have it moving forward. So they'd like to thank the district for the work that's being done.
Okay, Councillor Holmes.
We're just installing the posts for the beacons. We're not actually taking any responsibility for the beacons themselves. That's being done by the Trails.
The beacons will be the responsibility of the Trails Society, as well as general maintenance of the sign and the station. Although it'll be, the station and sign will be owned by the district, there'll be an agreement in place that they have to maintain it.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, would someone like to bring that forward, please? Councillor Peak.
But the Trail of the Okanagan Society wayfinding infrastructure project be supported, and that staff be directed to assist with the implementation of the project with funds for materials and labor allocated from the existing 2017 Parks Maintenance budget.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Trainer, thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Barker?
No, I was
You
just getting ready to vote.
Delayed action, okay. Or enhanced reaction. All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Opposed, thank you very much. Now, 12.6, Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mayor. As noted, this is a update report on the Banks Crescent project. The latest updates include the number of letters between Freshwater Fisheries and the Lark Group in regards to the potential use of Okanagan Lake as an alternate water source. Some specifics around that include data on temperature in particular and discussion around deep water temperature in the lake. We also late today received a submission from the Lark Group in regards to the community petition that's being circulated, and we have copies if council wishes to receive them now, or they'll be circulated to council by email. It arrived too late today to be included in the packages. And it's a letter outlining their opinion on the survey that's being submitted and the different questions being asked. And with that, they submitted a letter from a geotechnical engineer. So we will be sending that out to council and making that publicly available. We just couldn't get it on today's agenda. And those are the updates for the Banks Crescent at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you. Where are we at?
Yes.
Councillor Barker.
I move that the update report dated July 7th, 2017, from the Director of Development Services and the Director of Works and Utilities in relation to the OCP amendment and rezoning for 13610 Banks Crescent be received.
Okay, seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Okay, we have to do, oh, you, okay.
Well, now we have the motion on the table. I
Yeah,
can
right,
ask a
okay.
question.
Yeah, of course, sorry.
Yeah. I was wondering, to the chair, to Mr. Strachan, if it's time that we should consider setting a date for a public hearing, how many weeks down the road, or schedule it, because a lot of things are coming up and it might be hard to fit a date in. Are we to that point where we could consider trying to pick a date for a public hearing?
So at this point, there is a number of items that we remain outstanding. We're waiting for information on, but council certainly could, at their discretion, schedule a public hearing for an upcoming date to establish a date and a goal for having that information provided.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Councillor Peak.
Yes, question. In regard to the letters between the hatchery and the Lark Group, there were questions regarding credentials and the data on the deep water and the temperatures and whatever. I wasn't quite clear. Are there more follow-ups to come through that?
So the Lark Group responded with information on the professionals that are doing the work, as well as the temperature gradients, which are included in the package, hoping to address those particular issues, and further provide information that they would be either heating or cooling the water as required, noting that warming the water is quite a bit more simple than cooling it, in that it would just have to be held at ambient temperature, so essentially tanked before it was utilized, versus heating it would be easier than trying to cool it, bring the temperature down.
And if I may, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, subsequent question. In regards to the water licenses, there's some address of that in the letter from the Lark Group on the date of July 5th. And will we be responding to those in due course?
The question is becoming close to time for us to look at what it would be for the district to consider this option, and whether the license could be utilized for this purpose. And staff are at a point where we need to be reporting to council on this if the freshwater fisheries feels that this is an option that they would like to proceed. And it looks like we're getting close in that back and forth for a decision from them on that, at which time then staff would prepare a report to council, because this is the district's water license, this is the district's decision.
But it would come, as Mr. Strachan says, at the time that the Fisheries and Lark Group reached an agreement, then that it would be brought forward if that agreement involved requesting the use of a district water license. Council would then entertain whether or not you were willing to grant that use or not.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification, and I certainly understand it, but it's nice to have it stated. My other question in regard to that is that, or I would suggest, and I have no idea because I don't know about these licenses, whether in fact it would be applicable for someone to be applying for a separate water license from the province to be able to use for certain purposes, and that the District of Summerland would retain their own licenses for the purposes that we need. So that would be another suggestion in that discussion.
Yeah, I think Councillor Traynor was, oh, yeah, go ahead, and Councillor Holmes.
I just have a question for Mr. Strachan. In the freshwater fisheries letter on July 3rd or the 5th, they say that licenses are authorized by the Ministry of Forest Lands and Natural Resource Operations. So do they have to have a say in this as well? Like, who gets the final say?
Yeah, so we have a license in place, but we have to activate that license. So
Okay.
we would have to go to the ministry to activate that license. And that would be part of our reporting, should the Lark Group and the freshwater fisheries come to an agreement, as was noted.
Do they
That's part of
have-
the parameters that have to be looked at.
Okay, do they have say in it? Like, can they say yes or no, you can use it for this or you can't use it for that?
The ministry?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Councillor Holmes, then Councillor Peak.
Could you explain to me how the deep water lake intake became the preferred option over the drilled well water? And does that mean the drilled well option is now determined not to be viable?
If in the correspondence that we received from the Lark Group, they did include a summary of the different water sources. The rationale they provided for recommending the lake water intake is the composition of the water, so the mineral components of it, was most close to the aquifer if it was lake water than it was actually from the well source. So they recommended the lake water be explored as an option. And so far to date, for the exploration purposes, the freshwater fisheries has agreed to explore that option at this point because the composition is close.
So how many boreholes did they actually drill for exploring for well water? Or they just decided to go?
Are you asking about the sampling data?
Yeah.
So the sampling data was done from 3 wells last year.
Those original 3 wells, so no additional ones.
Hmm.
Councillor Traynor.
I just have another question. The letter dated
Pardon me?
June 26 from the Lark Group, they said the District of Summerland has been asked to support the use of their unused water license for the development of a deep water intake which will result in district-owned and operated piece of waterworks infrastructure. It would be paid by the district, or sorry, by the developer, but who would be responsible for maintaining that, like say in 20 years or something like that?
No, that's the next step to this, is how would that be laid out and how would that work? Would that be a piece of infrastructure the district would then own? It's paid for and installed by the Lark Group, but then they own it? Or would there be an agreement with freshwater fisheries that they would contribute towards that? That's yet to be determined. It's still looking at the option itself first before the details are
Okay.
presented to council. But that definitely would be a decision council would have the opportunity to review and consider.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Councillor Peak, I should have gone to you first.
It actually will follow very nicely on
Okay.
Councilor Trainor's question, because it is about use of the infrastructure that may be installed if it went that far, and whether, however that licensing of water is done, whether the intake could be used for other purposes than just the hatchery, or whether it could be split out because of a proportion of the water that could then be used for the purposes the district might be able to have need of. So those are just thoughts around when that comes forward.
Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, I'd just like to follow up on something I asked about when we made the OCP, the presentation about the OCP. And that's regarding OCP section 7.2.3.4, the clause that says about to promote the inclusion of productive and agricultural land into the ALR boundary that is currently not designated and protected as ALR lands. And I remember asking at the time, what non-ALR agricultural land have we identified for possible future inclusion into the ALR? And just keep in mind, I understand that the Advisory Planning Commission is looking at, has been looking at some other non-ALR land to develop. And so I just think if we're serious about this clause, if this is something we believe in, then I think we need to do a review before we start considering developing all this agricultural land. And if we have no intention of actually promoting the inclusion of agricultural land into the ALR, then maybe we should discuss about amending the OCB to remove this policy if we don't actually take it seriously. And maybe this is something we can refer to the Agricultural Committee to look at.
Yeah, I guess I'll make a quick comment that this would be up to the landowner to apply to the ALC, the Agricultural Land Commission, to have his property included in the Agricultural Land Reserve. As far as I know, when it comes to particular property like this, and perhaps Mr. Strachan can correct me, but that seeing as how it isn't our land and it's owned by an individual, would be up to that proponent to make a decision as to whether he wanted to move it into the Agricultural Land Reserve or not. In the past, I believe that when the decisions were made around 1972 and afterwards, there was considerable survey made, and later looking at parcels of land, this piece of land was not, as far as I know, ever overlooked by the ALC. It's the nature of its location that was not included in the land reserve at the time. So is there anything to add to that, Mr. Strachan?
Just that the specific policy of the OCP is to promote the inclusion. And as noted, it's private property, so how the district or council sees themselves promoting it, whether it's through the Agricultural Committee or other initiatives that the district can undertake, that would be something that certainly could be explored with the Agricultural Committee.
Pretty difficult to force a private individual to make that move, I would assume. Councillor Holmes.
It might be the individual private owner's decision, but it's council policy to promote. And I don't see us doing any promoting. And if that's something that we actually have no interest in, why is it council policy? Why don't we just remove that from the OCP? It's why is it there? Maybe there's a reason for it. It should be there. That's why I say let's refer to the Ag Committee and see what they say. I mean, we're not promoting we're not promoting it. Right? We're not following this policy.
No, but we are promoting the retention of agricultural land reserve land, which is a heavy-duty priority of myself personally and of this council.
We're not promoting the inclusion of productive agricultural land into the LR that's currently not designated and protected to ALR lands. That's what it says in the OCP. That is our policy.
That's correct.
And we are not doing that.
Well, yes, Councillor Holmes, we could probably very easily look at our own land and proceed in that direction, which is one reason why it might be in the OCP. But that's up to an initiative of council whether they decide to pursue that with council or district-owned land, I would assume. So it's not necessarily a policy that we could pursue for private ownership land that's already out there. Smile if you like, but I can assure you that there's nothing wrong with the district trying to pursue to include land if they so wish. Okay, we've got some other people here. Councillor Barkwell?
I think Councillor Holmes raises a good point, but it also depends on, I think the point that you made. If somebody was to want to put land in the agricultural land reserve, which as far as I know has never happened, other than a swap in various instances, then I think we could look at that policy and say, yes, we would encourage that. If there was some sort of, there could also be another feeling that, no, we don't want to encourage that because that land is very valuable, it's right next to town, and we want to see it for development. That sort of situation could happen somehow, although it would seem unlikely. But I think it would guide us in that, very rare situation that somebody voluntarily wanted to put their own land in the land reserve. I mean, obviously, the agricultural land is worth less than land that's available for development, so it just doesn't happen.
Councillor Carlson, then Councillor Peak.
Just briefly, I totally hear what you're saying, and I think that it's worth bringing this forward and talking about it, perhaps at the next Ag Committee meeting. I know that there's some other things that need to be discussed with that group. But I would also imagine that we could go through the OCP and find all kinds of things that we should be doing. So maybe that would be a bigger exercise that would be worth undertaking at some point as well. Because we all know that it's a living document, and there's a lot of stuff in there that we should be following up on and making sure that we're working towards. So I like the passion, because I agree with you, but I also think that we need to be realistic in recognizing that, why would someone put it in if they would have the opportunity to develop it? We can't force them. There's no tool for us to do that, although sometimes I wish there was.
Councillor Peak.
I acknowledge the good discussion, and I feel that doing one-off changes on an OCP is much better when you do a review of the OCP as a whole document, because it is a living document, it is our community, but I think that you're better off to do those wholesale things when you do it the 5-year review.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Councillor Booth.
Mr. Strachan, if you would, just there, that's
Yes,
better.
we have a motion on the table right now that we're discussing, correct? Okay.
Yes, this has to do
Yeah,
with,
okay,
with
thank
the Banks Crescent. Could you again run through the step-by-step of the application or assignment or whatever it turns out to be of the water license?
I think that might be better directed at myself or
Okay.
Jeremy. It wouldn't actually be a development services
Okay.
type of issue. If the trout hatchery and when they complete their discussions and it's determined whether or not the trout hatchery is going to support or not support this proposal by the Lark Group, then it'll be time for the Lark Group to come forward to council and say our proposal is to use a deep water outfall, but we either want to go into the Ministry of Environment or Fisheries, whoever Flinro, and apply for our license, or they might come and they might say, and we're going to request to council that we utilize your license. We then, council would have your initial debate. Are we even interested in entertaining having them use our license or not? Do we want to explore it further? If we want to explore it further, we would then have to contact the ministry to find out whether or not rights would be assigned to us to say that we could use it for that purpose. I haven't read the scope of the purpose on our license myself, so we would have to review that, and it could be that the scope is wide enough. Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. We would either get permission or not. So there's a number of steps involved as far as, and then once we knew if we had permission or not, then council would once again decide, with these terms and these conditions, that we would then have to look at if it's our municipal infrastructure, the process we always look at is, do we have an agreement where they pay us a maintenance fee? Do they give us a upfront cost? This goes to the Councillor Trainer's question on ownership. The question would be, how do we deal with the maintenance costs or other ownership items? And we have those questions all the time. That's not a unique situation here. We often have a developer paying for a piece of municipal infrastructure. You have to think of the initial capital costs, but you also need to keep in mind the ongoing operating costs of keeping that maintained. So you either build that into the upfront cost of negotiation or some sort of agreement. So then ultimately council would look at the agreement and decide whether or not to approve the agreement and say, yes, based on this criteria, we will grant use of this license, or no, we won't. Is that the question that you were?
That does answer my question. I have a follow-up question, though.
Go ahead.
I believe one of the earliest things that you said is there needs to be a decision, I guess, by the freshwater fisheries if they are interested in looking at the proposal that Lark has in terms of the deep water intake.
So that, I'll just clarify, council will need to know whether or not the trout hatchery supports the
Yes.
proposal. So that's the stage that we're at right now. The discussions are between Lark Group and Trout Hatchery.
Yes.
Because council has made it clear that that is a critical item for them. So the discussions that are going back and forth with them, it might be in the end that it comes back and Trout Hatchery isn't out and out saying we're 100% okay. They might say these are our concerns with it, but other than that, there's no concerns. Then council needs to have the discussion, are those concerns manageable? Does it always comes back to council. It doesn't come back to the Trout Hatchery,
Right.
but council's going to need that information to make an informed decision.
So that leads me into my next question. Thank you for this segue. We know what happens if the fisheries, in some fashion anyway, supports this option. If the fisheries doesn't support it, then what happens?
Then it's just information for council to take in your decision-making. So there's nothing, the trout hatchery has no jurisdiction in council can go forward and make your decisions, but you stated at the beginning that how the trout hatchery felt was critical to your thinking. So if you were entertaining a proposal that the trout hatchery was adamantly against,
Yes.
my guess would be that you would not be in support of the proposal because you've made that statement. But you would look at those items of why they're against it, and you would determine if they appeared to be credible or not, in your opinion.
So, to further that, so at this point though, fisheries is examining the data to see whether they meet their criteria. Is that correct, essentially?
Yeah, so the questions were around temperature, and that data has been provided back to them, and then we'll be next waiting for freshwater fisheries response. We'll be contacting them to see where they're at with that data review, and then move to the next step. As was noted, Lark Group in their last submission noted the temperature, they would be willing to install a mechanism to control temperature, whether it's a tank to hold it to warm up or a refrigeration system to cool it.
So, just further to, I think, this discussion, essentially though, we're, in the last number of months, of course, the fisheries has said they are opposed to the project. But as far as I gather, what you're saying, though, that is subject to an appropriate contingency source based on temperature, chemical analysis, etc., being adequate for their needs to meet that contingency situation that they might require.
So the freshwater fisheries in their initial letter, and they've stood by that initial letter, had 4 items that they requested be addressed. in order for them to consider any support of the project. One was related to the erosion, two was related to the monitoring, third was the alternate water source, the
Yes.
fourth being that all of these were addressed before any construction on the site began. So at this point in time, the LARC group has put forward proposals for the sediment and erosion control, the monitoring, and now they're trying to sort out an option to bring forward to the freshwater fisheries that works for them around the alternate water source.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Did you have something further, Councillor?
Well,
Burke?
just a comment, really. I think that the fisheries is probably in a really unenviable position.
Why?
Well, because this, we have stated that the fish hatchery's viability is critical to their approval, and we certainly have implied that it's critical to our discussions as we move forward. So that's why I'm suggesting that kind of being the piece of straw is not a very enviable position to be
I don't
in.
know, it's hard to, get into more of a discussion, but it could also be that, the ability to have a contingency source that somebody else is willing to pay for to ensure that they have a backup is, I would say, pretty important to fisheries. And the
I
fact
think
that
it's
somebody
very
is-
important.
That somebody's willing to do it to the extent that they are. Councillor Barkwell, do you have-
I was just going to say the same thing, that letter from 1996 to the district where the fisheries was looking for mechanisms to protect their water source demonstrated their concern for their water source. We all know that natural water sources are not always reliable, and they should be, I take the opposite kind of view. I would think that they should be delighted that there's this opportunity to get a backup water source. But apart from that, I had a question for Mr. Strachan. Some time ago, the fisheries organization said they were not going to participate in the consultation process anymore. Are they still not talking, and all this has to go back and forth through you?
What they asked for was that the communication work through the district, and that has worked out quite well. So
Okay.
we're participating with both parties, and it's helping with ensuring that information is getting back to council. With the updates that we're doing, it's a good way to have communications working, because we are able to bring back these correspondence. I think unfortunately it probably does slow the process, but it's a process that the freshwater fisheries is comfortable with, and they would like to continue on this process, is what they've asked of us at this point in time.
It does help keep us completely informed, I guess.
It keeps us abreast of what's going on. Yeah.
Councillor Peak.
At the risk of not extending the conversation too much longer, I was going to ask Mr. Strachan, was there ever an indication from the fish hatcheries that they had, in fact, looked for alternate sources in the past to be able to know that they would be able to supply water for themselves in the future?
The freshwater fisheries had indicated some well options that they've looked at in the past, but I don't know, have any more details beyond the well option as to how long or how far back they've looked at sources.
Thank you, because I certainly think the responsibility of the fish hatchery is the responsibility of the province as well. So whatever the discussion is around other things, the whole discussion will probably be better for both the province and the fish hatchery in the end.
Yeah, further to that, Councillor Peak, to Mr. Strachan, I understood that the freshwater fisheries had examined a well option between their buildings and the lake, and had actually sunk a well but did not get any satisfaction with that well drilling. Is that not the case?
That was my understanding.
Yeah, okay, so they have tried to sink a well to get an alternate source as a backup for what they do in their present operation.
They didn't specifically say as to what that water would be for or what its utilization
wow.
was, but they did indicate that they had done exploration around a well as a water source. In their correspondence to the district, they were quite clear that their current water source has been adequate and consistently adequate for many years for their purposes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, council? Someone like to bring the...
You already brought it.
Got it? Oh, I'm sorry,
We just,
Been a
I
long
just
time.
rambled on.
Just vote.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Okay, we're moving ahead to 12.7.
Yeah, he's just getting his stuff. So while Mr. Strachan's getting ready to speak to this, this is the item that, after we heard the appeal from Mr. Stonehill last council meeting, council passed a resolution to deny the appeal, but added to report back on the open building permit that was outstanding on his property, and Mr. Strachan has just provided this report and will speak to what's happened since that meeting on that outstanding building permit.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted, this is an update report on the building permit for the Summerland Glass property. We did have a discussion with the property owner, and they have decided to explore the option of removing the encroaching concrete, the footing, the below-grade material, and remove it from the site. They have confirmed with their structural engineer that they could cut that piece off the foundation and remove it without impacting the structure, and we have letters to such. So we're meeting with them this week, along with their legal counsel, to discuss how they're moving forward and what works would be required. Then they will be needing to reach out to Mr. Stonehill to get his authorization to do said works on his property.
So just in response, at the beginning of the meeting, Mr. Stonehill mentioned that he wasn't asked which option he'd be interested in, but ultimately he is asked because they will need to access his property in order to remove the concrete. So they won't be able to do it without his permission to remove it from his property.
Okay, thank you. Well, council, any questions of Mr. Strachan or our CAO? Okay, Councillor Peak.
So there's, Mr. Stonehill will have an opportunity to speak to whatever the solution brought forward to him is, and he'll have an opportunity to suggest another solution then, rather than just what comes to him.
As was mentioned last council meeting, if it was different relationships, they could have more of a conversation. But, I mean, removal is the only way to remove the encroachment. And the only thing that would limit that would be is if he didn't want them to access his property. At that time, if he said no, they will need to know what the other options are. They need to get their building permit closed. They have the option to pursue legal action if they're trying to remove it and they can't. So hopefully it'll be resolved before then.
Okay.
Thank you very kindly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, would someone like to bring that resolution forward, please? Councillor Holmes.
Move that updated report dated July 7th, 2017. Should not be July.
No, it's
The
dated July
report's dated.
7th.
Oh, the report, sorry. From the Director of Development Services in relation to the open building permit for 10503 Jubilee Road be received.
Seconded, please. Councillor Carlson.
Just make a comment.
Speak to it, yes.
I think that based on the conversation we had last meeting and on the work that's been done, I think it would be in everybody's best interest to have this dealt with so that it doesn't have to be a problem anymore and you can, you know, be at peace. So I would urge you to work really towards working out this problem with your neighbor, and hopefully it won't cause you any more stress.
Okay.
As
Nope.
Linda mentioned, last meeting, the district is also responsible. So I feel I should have a little bit of negotiation or a little bit of talking with the district. You know, a good example would be who's paying my survey report.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there, Mr. Stonehill. Okay,
So
thank
is
you.
there any, like, do I get to come back again, or is this the end, or, you know, like, how do I?
So
go forward?
the process has been that your appeal that you brought forward last time was denied by council. We're still working on your outstanding building permit. What I would suggest is that you do come and see me one more time, and we can discuss, Mr. Strachan can be there, and we can discuss that issue of the outstanding building permit, and looking at if there's anything else that can be done, especially once we've been talking to Summerland Glass and knowing what process they want to work through. So
But I'm assuming then that any of my expenses or costs or damage to my foundation, which is not going to be covered by.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
there's a point of order here.
Yes, go ahead.
That this is not part of the process for dealing with resolutions. We don't engage with the audience. And if there's something more to be said, he can take it up later.
Thank you, Mr. Barkle. Councillor Barkle. Okay.
Can I come back then, if we can take it up later?
We've got a seconder? Yeah, we do. Councillor Carlson is a seconder. Okay, any further discussion at all? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. Moving ahead to 13.1. Which is Mr. Strachan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Glenford.
As noted, this is a application for a zoning bylaw text amendment. The application and the report is listed as the property being under application is 7808 Pierre Drive. However, the actual application is to make a text amendment to the zoning bylaw in order to add dormitory as a permitted use defined in the bylaw and added as an allowable use under the I-1 institutional zone. The purpose being is the potential purchase of the property in order to convert the school or reopen the school as an international school. As a part of that application, they've indicated that they wish to construct a dormitory facility for 200 students on the property. The use, by definition, would be an associated use with the school. So the students that are utilizing the school will be utilizing the dormitory. Characteristics of the definition also include that the kitchen facilities must be communal, which is the common practice with dormitories, so there wouldn't be individual apartments. This would be more of a sleeping unit with communal either as a common kitchen on floors or as communal kitchen as an overall kitchen facility. Council, if this was approved, would then receive a development permit and a building permit in advance of the dormitory being constructed. The site proposed at this point in time is preliminary, but they've identified the area adjacent to where the tennis courts are currently located as being a possible location for the dormitory facility. But again, there would be more work that would take place around the development permit, including some reviews by geotech and so forth that would help identify where the best location on the subject property would be.
And I think that is important to note that we're actually talking about a zoning amendment, not about the specific application.
Councillor Carlson?
Question related to that. So is it a zoning amendment specifically for that location, institutional use, or is it for any institutional zoning in the entire district?
It would be for any institutional zoning in the district, but it's tied to the school use.
Okay, so one of the churches that's zoned institutional wouldn't necessarily be able to go and build a 400-unit dormitory?
No, if they were
Okay.
to have a school, they could have dormitory facilities for the school. And it became, we reviewed it as being possibly looking at a CD zone specifically for this specific property, but felt it was a common enough use attached to institutional schools that it could be explored for the entire zone. It's not a commonly applied zoning designation. It's attached to an OCP designation that has that orientation as well. And those particular properties, it could be a future opportunity the council
Thank
will
you.
consider.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions of Mr. Strachan? Okay. Would someone like to bring the resolution forward, please? Councillor Barkle?
I propose the zoning bylaw change as written in 13.1 of new business.
Actually, would you please read that out?
Okay. That zoning bylaw text amendment, bylaw number 2017-021, to add dormitory as a permitted use in the I institutional zone be introduced and given first and second readings, and that a public hearing be held on August 14th, 2017 to receive public feedback on bylaw number 2017-021.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Booth, thank you. Councillor Peak, any further discussion?
I think this is a great opportunity for that property to come back into use, and I think that this is totally supported as an option within the institutional zoning and in general, really for our community. So
Yeah.
I think this is great.
Good, thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, I just want to say more or less the same thing. It's really quite exciting news. And do we have any idea when they intend to open?
I think Mr. Strachan.
In their initial discussions, they'd hope to seek approval from council and then begin that plan of recruiting students and hope to open as soon as possible after.
Thank you. Okay, no further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. None opposed. Thank you very much. Moving on to councillor reports. Councillor Peak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is for Canadian-wide. I wanted to send a congratulations to the Canadian basketball team, under 19 age. They've done the very first. They have a gold medal win, and I think that's just wonderful for Canada.
That's right.
It's great for all the young people in the communities that do basketball. There's great goals involved in that. I would also like to extend thanks to the Legion for the Canada Day celebration. It was a good day. A beautiful day to have that Canada Day celebration, and I'd like to commend all the community members that volunteer. I wanted to thank the fire department for being out on that day as well. The fire department does a terrific job of being available for community events, and it's time out of their own personal time, so it's greatly appreciated. I also, on behalf of the mayor, was able to attend the Car Appreciation Day last Thursday at the Dairy Queen. Bob Kelly, the president, thank me for being there, and thank the support of the mayor and council for the time that we put in and the acknowledgement that we give to the social and economic benefit of that. So I attended both Thursday night and the next day at the Perch for the presentation. So thank you for that opportunity, Mr. Mayor.
Welcome. Councillor Holmes.
No report. Give me time.
What?
I'll give me time
No
to
report.
council calls.
It's a blessing.
What? I wasn't ready for that one. I don't have a report either. Cherry harvest has begun in Summerland, so
Full
welcome
bore.
all of our very necessary and hardworking folks who join us in this community for the next month or two. Majority of them are wonderful, so we should appreciate the group of folks that show up to help us do this really important job.
So what sort of scope and how many people do you actually employ in this operation?
At our farm, we have right now we have about 50 people working for us. We may get up to 80.
I see, good. Thank you. I used to be part of that operation, so I kind of...
We're hiring locals. If there's any high school kids that want to come
Yeah,
work.
you got Councillor Boot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor and Councillor Holmes and I attended the opening of the pickleball courts at Peach Orchard Campground on June the 29th. And you know I'm going to say it, so I will. I and Henry Seelman were matched against the mayor and Councillor Holmes, and I think you know who won.
I can't remember, Councillor Boot.
Well, I
It
can
was-
remind you if necessary.
You have to, we did.
What was the score?
Yeah.
11-6.
It was nice that we let you, it was nice that we allowed you that win
Yes,
to
I
make
know.
you feel better for the day.
That's men always say that.
Yeah.
The next day, we attended the grad ceremony. Councillor Holmes as a proud father of a graduate, as well as representing council. Amazing, as always, amazing talent and enthusiasm in our graduates from 2017. Thursday, I attended the RDOS meeting, And I had promised this information to Councillor Peak and others. I'm still unable to find it. So I will just tell you that the compost discussions are still underway. They were still underway on Thursday. And at some point, we'll have to make a decision between the two narrowed down sites, or it may be that we don't choose either of the two sites.
At the RDOS table.
At the RDOS table.
Correct.
Then it comes back to either Area D, if it's Marin Valley, or Summerland Council, if it's,
Thank
if we carry on here.
So, yeah.
So, did you want to add anything to that, Mr. Mayor?
No, I think that's fine. I know we have to move on, but carry
Yeah.
on.
There also was a Make Water Work presentation, and again, I would like to ask that you all sign the Make Water Work pledge, because we have been challenged by the city of Penticton. So per capita, we have to have more people sign the pledge. It's just online. It's really easy, makewaterwork.ca. So let's beat out Mayor Jacobite and his crew there. I had a conference planning for the meeting today by phone for the next SILGA conference. And just a reminder that Superintendent DeJager will be at Penticton Trade and Convention Center this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. He's holding a town hall style meeting. He's our new superintendent for this whole area, regional district. And he is opening up his thoughts on how they can address the rash of break-ins and vandalism and things that have been going up and down the valley. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barkle.
Excuse me. Well, most of my meetings are in the second half of the month, but I did enjoy a burger at the Canada Day celebrations and the mayor's speech, which was good in more ways than just being short. And it was good. It was good. I told you at the time.
Well, I've focused on the short aspect.
That's about it.
Councillor Trainer.
I don't have much to report. I just wanted to say thank you to the Parks and Rec staff for doing such a great job of getting the beaches back up, especially Powell Beach. They removed the Tiger Dam, and they spent a lot of time down there cleaning up, and I know a lot of my neighbors were very appreciative of that, and there's lots of people using Powell Beach this week. So even though there's still lots of work to be done and there's still lots of water down there, people really like that park and they're using it again. So thank you.
Can I just make a little correction on that? It was actually, it's good to thank the Parks and Rec Department, but it was Works Department, Utilities Department, Parks and Rec, and other staff. So just thanking district staff is probably the best on that one.
Okay, I'm corrected. Thank you.
I cruised by there yesterday because I was interested in how the beach looked, and that and Sunoka have been really cleaned up nicely. So. Okay, it's an opportunity for the public to make any comments, please.
A couple of things have come up this week that I would like.
Bring the mic down towards you.
A couple of things have come up this week that I would like to ask council about. The first one is about the luxury. Oh, is it on? No. Is it on now?
Yeah.
No. The recent luxury condo construction fire at the 6-story Water's Edge condos on Trustwell Road in Kelowna was devastating this week and put many residents and firefighters at risk. Apparently, according to Castanet News, it was started by a roofer with an open flame that got out of control. Who's to say this won't or can't happen during the 5 to 7 year construction period of the proposed 5 buildings of the 380 condo development in the dry gully of Banks Crescent. The density of this development in the gully location surrounded by trees and foliage will be even more susceptible to catching fire than the Kelowna development was, which was on a main thoroughfare. This is a scary reality to the residents who live in the surrounding neighborhood. Is council willing to risk, with this development in this location, potential devastation to people's lives and houses, the hatchery, and the surrounding environmentally sensitive area, with only narrow evacuation routes through existing residential areas that will have 1,000% increase in traffic? How do we as residents protect ourselves if council allows this to be rezoned to high-density residential?
Thank you. Well,
So,
we-
so the question was,
Yes.
are you willing to risk that?
Well, we have a fire department that looks after the community as a whole, and they're very efficient. We've got an excellent
Have you
crew.
been down the roads that
Oh,
that
I'm very
access?
familiar with the operation, and I'm very familiar with the location and the actual farm itself. So I'm very familiar with the property. I'm well aware of what you're talking about. And the fire hazard that will exist anywhere in the community is substantial, especially in the forestry interface areas that we have in the community. And so these are risks that the community has overall, as most communities have in the situations, as we've just noted in various communities throughout the province. So,
But
these
this
are-
increases the population in this area
Yeah,
from
I-
single-family dwelling to 380 condos
Yeah,
of
yeah.
2 people each.
Pardon me?
It's huge,
Yeah.
and it's very concerning. So I just
The,
want this on
yeah,
record.
yeah,
I have
that's fine.
one other
Yes,
question,
okay.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yep.
The 1996 letter that Councillor Barkwell referred to stated that the council of the day felt that because the hatchery was in an environmentally sensitive zone, they reclassified the property to farmland to give further protection. They felt it was a valuable asset to the community and therefore rezoned 13610 Banks Crescent to farmland to prevent future development of the property into residential. What has changed since 1996 to not protect that hatchery?
It's actually hard to say. I'd have to have some information relative, for example, to when our sewer system went in. That plays a part. The other thing is that no past council can bind a future council with their decisions down the road. So that's where
I
that sits
understand
right now.
that, but
Yeah.
does the view of how important the hatchery is to the community, has that changed with this council from previous
No,
councils?
I think we've expressed our concern very decisively and completely with respect to the hatchery. It's been a foremost concern of this council as we've examined this whole proposal. It remains a very key component of our concern, and I think that should have been obvious for the last number of months, and it certainly is very obvious this evening with the information provided by Mr. Strachan. So I think that this council's not concerned.
I didn't say
about-
that.
Well,
I
know, but
I
it-
didn't say that,
Okay,
Mayor
well, at
Waldman.
any rate, you have it on record from
Thank you.
me that we are concerned about the fishery. Anybody else like to speak this evening? Okay, anything from the press? John or Susan? No? Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please? Councillor Boot, thank you. Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you.